Welcome on board the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. The Bombay High Court today granted bail to Rhea Chakravarti. And in its order, the judge said, and I want to take you through some snatches of the bail order. Rhea Chakravarti is not part of a gang of drug dealers. She did not sell drugs to earn money. Rhea did not finance the illegal drug trade. Rhea did not harbor Sushant Singh Rajput. Section 27A, the most serious charge against her, is highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. No recovery of drugs from Rhea or from SSR's home. Commercial quantity of contraband is not involved. There is no basis to suggest Rhea would destroy evidence, and that Rhea Chakravarti has cooperated with the investigation completely. Now, with this order, the Bombay High Court has brought crashing down the entire campaign of misinformation, slander, sensationalism carried out by some new so-called news channels. Will this campaign of slander finally end, and will those who deliberately, maliciously, viciously put out misinformation, slander, sensationalism now pay for their sins of omissions and commission? That's my top focus on the news track tonight.
After 28 days in jail, Rhea walks free. Drug link falls apart. CBI focuses on suicide. No proof of financial fraud. No proof of murder. Sushant, death truth. Top focus on News Track.
The so-called news channels that were running a sustained, malified campaign against Rhea Chakravarti haven't even mentioned the fact that Rhea Chakravarti has been granted bail by the Bombay High Court because it doesn't suit their vested agenda. On India Today, we've been reporting both sides of the story. Facts as they emerge, the investigation as it unfolds, and this Bombay High Court order as well. I have a power-packed show lined up on the news track tonight. Spending 28 days in jail, Rhea Chakravarti was granted bail by the Bombay High Court. She reached her home earlier this evening. The Bombay High Court's order was scathing, taking apart the most serious charges leveled by the Narcotics Control Bureau, finding that there was no evidence to substantiate that she was involved in the drug cartel, or that she was financing drugs or benefiting by purchasing and reselling drugs. The Narcotics Control Bureau, frankly, has massive embarrassment to deal with, because the most pressing charges is not just the fact that she was given the bail order, which is why I've been saying since the morning, everyone who was defaming Rhea Chakravarti, finding her to be guilty, sentencing her, executing her, should really sit and read the bail order of the Bombay High Court judge. And if you don't have the time to sit back for a couple of minutes, as our Mumbai Bureau takes you through this very significant bail order, which really tears apart the NCB's case against Rhea Chakravarti. Here it is.
28 days in jail, and Rhea is free at last. Arrested for alleged drug link to Sushant Singh Rajput's death, Rhea got a major respite as she was granted bail on Wednesday afternoon by the Bombay High Court. Justice Sarang V. Kotwal pulled apart the Narcotics Control Bureau's charges against Rhea. In his scathing observations, Justice Kotwal declared that Rhea is not a part of a drug syndicate. The NCB had accused Rhea of dealing in illicit drug trafficking. While arresting her on September 8, the NCB had called her an active member of drug syndicate connected with drug supplies. The Bombay High Court now says that Rhea is not part of drug dealers. She has not forwarded the drugs allegedly procured by her to somebody else to earn monetary or other benefits. The NCB had slapped Section 27A of the NDPS Act on Rhea, accusing her of financing illicit drug trade and harboring others involved in it. The charge is punishable with minimum 10 years in jail. The court, however, observed that simply providing money for a particular transaction is not financing of that activity, and that financing will have to be interpreted as providing funds for operating and sustaining drug trade. So Rhea spending money to get drugs for Sushant doesn't mean that she financed illicit traffic. The Narcotics Bureau had also alleged that Rhea knew that Sushant consumed drugs and concealed it. But even this allegation was demolished by the High Court, with Justice Sarang V. Kotwal saying that no drugs were recovered from Rhea or Sushant Singh Rajput's house. And in that case, there was nothing to show that she had committed any offence involving commercial quantity of contraband.
The CBI till today, in spite of 2 months of investigations, has found nothing. Rhea Chakravarti and all the people who were interrogated by the NCB, there were 2 teams created, one of the Mumbai NCB and one of the Delhi NCB. Both of them, they hounded Rhea Chakravarti and so many film stars only to get free publicity from the media.
Another big relief for Rhea will be that a forensic audit of Sushant Singh Rajput's bank accounts has not revealed anything suspicious. Remember, Sushant's family and the Bihar police FIR had accused Rhea of siphoning off 15 crore rupees. In fact, of the over 70 crore worth of transactions in the past 5 years by Sushant Singh Rajput, only about 55 lakh rupees were found to be related to Rhea. Sources also tell India Today that there's nothing to prove that Rhea could have pushed Rajput to suicide for financial gain.
After 28 days, Rhea Chakrabarti has walked out of the jail. However, her brother is still behind bars. His bail was rejected by the Bombay High Court. However, freedom for Rhea does not mean that she is in the clear. The CBI investigation against her for suicide abetment is still being investigated. With cameraman Prakash Mordhara and Sameer Shanbag, Vidya in Mumbai for India Today.
Rhea Chakravarti did not finance the illicit drug trade. She did not harbor Sushant Singh Rajput, and harbor has a particular legal context. You harbor somebody who's a criminal who has some FIR against him. The court finds that Sushant had no FIR or case against him, so Rhea couldn't possibly have been harboring him. 27A, the court finds as highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. There's no recovery of drugs from Rhea or SSR's house. Commercial quantity of contraband is not involved. And I'm saying all of this because there has been a vicious, malicious campaign that's been carried out against Rhea Chakravarti, making it seem as if she is the kingpin of some grand drugs cartel, that she is a Vishkanya and that she needs to be locked up. Some even wanted her hung by the gallows. But the court order finds a lot of what the Narcotics Control Bureau has said in its charges to be untrue. This isn't the final order, but for example, on the most serious charge against her, the court says that there is no grounds, highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. Now remember, these are the findings of a real judge, not the findings of people who think they are judge, jury and execution and that they can come with any verdict that they want and that people must quiver because they're saying so, because all of that needs to be measured against evidence, needs to be measured in a court, because all of us, remember, run newsrooms, not courtrooms, and therefore the judge has spoken, a real judge has spoken, not some crazy man who thinks he's a judge, but a real judge has spoken, and Rhea Chakravarti has been given bail. Joining me on the news track, I want to welcome first and foremost Umakant Mishra. He's a former assistant director of the Narcotics Control Bureau and has been appearing on our shows many times. He's supported, and I want to remind our viewers very clearly, he supported the charges the NCB had leveled against Rhea Chakravarti. Now the NCB is looking really silly because some of the most serious charges in the bail order itself have been shown to have no grounds. We have with us on this broadcast Roshan Binder. She's a director, producer, has been very strongly in the pro-SSR, anti-Rhea camp. I'm wondering what she has to say about the bail order by a real judge, not some kangaroo court. We also have with us on this broadcast Priyanka Tibrewal, an advocate, Sumit Chandar. Shoma Chaudhary joins us, political analyst and journalist. We've got Kanika Sadanan joining us as well, and she's been a key feature, very common face in several of our shows coming and appearing on this story. So first and foremost, to Umakant Mishra. So I remember not once, not twice, but thrice at least you coming on our show and justifying the charges, including 27A, which the Bombay High Court judge, a real judge, not a kangaroo court, finds to be highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. And the reason the judge says this is because if Rhea Chakravarti paid for the consumption of drugs of Sushant Singh Rajput, the person who consumed the drugs gets only 1 year in prison under section 64A of the NDPS Act, but the person who gave the money to purchase the drugs faces the prospect of 20 years in jail. And in that context, the judge says this is highly disproportionate and would be extremely unreasonable. The Narcotics Control Bureau coming off looking very, very unprofessional in the manner in which they level these charges, because the case that they built has really come crashing down in this bail order.
Yeah, Rahul, can I start?
Yeah, yes, you
Good
must.
evening to you. Yeah, there are many interesting things about the judgment, Rahul. As far as the 27A is concerned, we must not forget that the definition, what is given in the NDPS Act, and the lining on which the Honorable Judge has gone, I will tell you there is a fundamental flaw in the judgment. What is that? I quote from the order. The word financing would necessarily refer to some activities involving illegal trade or business. So the fundamental flaw in the judgment, respectfully disagreeing with the order, I would say that the judgment puts a different meaning to the word financing, which is not there in the Act. When something is not defined in the Act, you give it to a ordinary meaning of the English. In the same order, Honorable Judge goes that yes, Rhea Chakravarti and the other people who were released on bail, they were procuring and giving drugs to Sushant. So now the fundamental flaw of the order is the judge is confused, the Honorable Judge is confusing between illicit trade and illicit traffic. NDPS Act deals with illicit traffic, which is very distinctively defined in the Act. Now again, if we'll go to the Act, 27A, what does it say? It says financing and harboring any of the activities mentioned in definition 2, small 8, 1. And there are 5 activities defined there. Harboring, of course, I don't agree. The Honorable Judge was right in saying that there was no harboring. But once the Honorable Judge has held in the order that Rhea Chakravarti and the other 2 people were procuring drugs, and even money has been paid from Rhea Chakravarti's credit card, and holding the same, he cannot give a new meaning to the word financing and go on to say that
one second, Mr. Umakant Mishra, one second, sir. What's wrong with the manner in which the judge has used the word financing? Financing means that you're part of the drug cartel, that you're buying and then you are selling. You're buying from someone, you're selling. That is purchasing for consumption either by self or by Sushant Singh Rajput, which is what the judge says. This could be a case of under section 64A of the NDPS, where the person who, if he is found guilty, spends either 1 year in jail or can go into some kind of reformation. To put 27A, which involves spending 20 years in jail, is highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. Do you not at the very least concede, Mr. Umakant Mishra, would you not concede that the Narcotics Control Bureau has come out looking very unprofessional?
Yes, partly. Why this is so? Because they try to paint a wrong picture of she being a member of a drug trade or a drug syndicate, which is again a matter of section 31B.
No, so why did they do this? One second. The judge says very clearly. So one second, let's deal with it. No, one second. One second, sir. This whole business about her being in the drug trade, you know, the judge says very clearly that there is no evidence to substantiate it, that she is not part of drug dealers. She has not forwarded the drugs allegedly procured by her to somebody else to earn monetary or other benefits. This is part of the judgment. If you yourself are saying that this provision has been wrongly invoked, I asked you, why is your force doing this, Mr. Mishra?
Rahul, to this I agree that the NCB has partly disproportionately exaggerated the charge, because the investigation agency, while drawing up and discovering facts, must apply the correct law, must determine what are the actions which are offence. Now coming to 27A and relating it to say 37(1)(b), where 4 sections are mentioned, please let me try to explain for the audience also and for everybody that it relates to section 19, to section 24, to section 27A, and to commercial quantities. So
no, but it says over here, sir, it says over here that commercial quantities are not involved. No, sir, it says commercial quantities are not involved.
That is,
can I quote to you? The material at the highest shows she's committed an offence. One second, sir. The material presented at the highest shows she's committed an offence involving contraband, but the crucial element of incurring the rigors of section 37A in the respect of commercial quantity is missing. Basically, she procured small amounts of drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput, possibly also for herself, but this is not commercial contraband, which is at the core of the NCB case against her. The NCB was on a witch hunt. Will you accept it or not, Mr. Mishra?
No, I will accept only to a limited extent, because these clubbing of 4 section in 37(1)(b) shows the legislative intent, which the Honorable Judge is ignoring, because 27A codifies 4 offences together. If you consider 19 and 24 and 27A, they are separated from the commercial quantity. So why they are separated?
A lot of what you're saying, sir,
is that
sir, I don't understand, Mishra, what you're saying. You are saying that yes, they are partially wrong because they are slightly disproportionately exaggerated. I mean, you use the word disproportionately exaggerated.
I refer to
how can the NCB be disproportionately? You mean they've just trumped up these charges when held before the face of evidence? Those charges have come crashing down. Stay with me, Mr. Mishra. I want to welcome Satish Manishinde. He joins us. He's the lawyer for Riya Chakravarti. This whole case that was built against Riya Chakravarti, the most serious charges have taken a big knock. What the court says is that at the highest, she committed an offence involving contraband. So she purchased the drugs either for herself or for Sushant Singh Rajput, but all the serious charges about commercial quantities, about being part of a drug cartel, about financing the drug trade, all of those have come crashing down. You've spoken to Riya after her bail. How is she doing? 28 days in prison. What can you tell us, Mr. Manishinde?
Well, the charges of the NCB had come down crashing with the finding of the learned judge that there is no evidence of any financing or harboring. She cannot be charged for any offence under section 27A. Apart from that, the learned judge has said that if Sushant Singh Rajput was a consumer and at worst he could get immunity under the law for having consumed, how can the abettor be punished for a stronger offence or a serious, much more serious offence? Therefore, he has said that at worst, she can be punished for an offence which is less than 1 year, and that too after she has been proved guilty, if at all. So my only request to all the detractors who were after her and hounding her, including the NCB, is to stay off and clean their hands of Riya Chakravarti and concentrate on the big cartel for which the NCB was built. The speaker, the ex-director of the NCB has come here on the show, who has castigated them earlier. I hope he tells his colleagues of this former organization to go slow on such celebrities and concentrate on the drug cartel who are corrupting our entire
I also want to make this very clear, and I want to emphasize this on the news track, that at one place, the Narcotics Control Bureau argues that because Riya Chakravarti is a celebrity, an example needs to be made of her so as to send a deterring message in society. The judge says no, that everyone needs to be treated equal in the eye of law. just because she's a celebrity doesn't mean that she has to be handed out more stringent punishment. So that's, that's a very firm message, and it's very basic at its core that everyone's equal under law, no matter whether you're high, low, rich, poor, popular, unpopular, celebrity or non-celebrity.
Apart from that, the High Court has said that the status of a person should not be considered at the time of such trials in a large number of cases. Supreme Court has said the status of a person, whether she is rich or poor or whatever, is not a criteria for the law to take course. Apart from that, as far as Rhea is concerned, she is an up-and-coming film actress. Whether she has got any roles, she's very busy like other stars, is a different matter. But she's not one of those who can be hounded in this manner just because she was in love with a boy who turned out to be a drug addict. If the drug addict was alive today, he would have got immunity under the law for having consumption under Section 64A. So therefore, a person like Rhea Chakravarti, who according to the NCB was only an abettor by either getting the delivery or making payment on his behalf, cannot be subjected to inhuman treatment of being punished in a serious manner.
Okay.
Having not applied the same.
Okay, I lost that link with Satish Manishan. This is a Skype link that we are using, so bear with me as we try and fix that internet connection. But till then, let me get a word from our other guests who are joining us on this broadcast. Roshan Binder, you've been a strong advocate for the pro-SSR and, if I could say, anti-Rhea camp. Now this order finds, that the Narcotics Control Bureau's charges to be highly disproportionate and to apply Section 27A of the Narcotics Control Bureau's NDPS Act, which is the most stringent of all provisions, would be extremely unreasonable. And this really raises questions, Shoma Chaudhary, about the manner in which Rhea Chakravarti has been villainized. She's been made out to be a Vishkanya, and all manner of things have been said about her. A lot of people have believed that kind of rhetoric, and now the order of the Bombay High Court itself demolishes a lot of those charges. Okay, so I just want to tell our viewers that we've lost the Skype lines of all the guests who are with us. So this is clearly an internet outage we're dealing with, and you'll just really need to bear with me as we try and fix that. Kanika Sadanando is with us. Kanika, a matter of relief, the fact that Rhea Chakravarti has finally been granted bail, and more importantly, it's not just the fact that she's been granted bail, the kind of scathing observations and findings of the judge in this Bombay High Court bail order are very significant in terms of the manner in which the Narcotics Control Bureau was handling this case.
Absolutely, Rahul, and I'm so glad that finally justice, at least for the time being, has prevailed, and the judge in the 70-page bail order, he has clearly threadbare dissected the law, NDPS law, and he has dissected the provisions for bail and all the charges that were put against Rhea. He's really dissected them so well. I've happened to go through that order. And I want to say to our esteemed Mr. Uma Shankarji that financing and harboring, I agree that even he agrees that there was no harboring because she was living in Sushant Singh's house. She was not giving Sushant Singh, any kind of shelter in her place. So there's no question of harboring there. And that also the court has very clearly said.
Okay, Satish Manishinde, have you had a chance to speak to Rhea Chakravarti? Satish Manichinde, have you had a chance to speak to Rhea Chakravarti? What is she saying? How's she been? 28 days of being away from family, being in a lockup would be tough on anybody.
Well, in this pandemic, one thing was certain that, she was not going to get her normal diet. She was prevented from getting her home food like any other person would get in normal times. But she being an army girl, a tough girl, she has faced all kinds of situations in her life. And she was ready to face all the treacheries of being in a lockup, being in a cell, being in the midst of people who are accused of serious crimes. And she told me that because of her conduct in the jail, the entire jail staff treated her with humane gloves, and there was no hardship that she faced. And it is something very, pleasant to hear from a person who has gone to jail for the first time in her life, that she was commending the jail staff, the superintendent and his team of officers for having taken care of every prisoner, not only her, particularly the women. Baikala jail has a majority of women prisoners. And she has told us that in the midst of all these people, she lived the life of a common person because she has gone through a hard life right from her childhood, being a defense officer's girl. So therefore, she has not lost her determination to fight the entire false allegations that are being lodged against her. She has said that she'll fight everyone tooth and nail, whether it is the CBI, whether it is the ED, whether it is the NCB, or any other organization which is trying to hound her, and she's not going to give up. And all that she's worried is, in the bargain, the memory of Sushant Singh Rajput has been besmirched, has been washed down to such level by the family of Sushant Singh Rajput itself, that but for the allegations made by the family in the Patna FIR, that she had drugged him and, she used to, keep him away from the family, all these offenses of his drug consumption and other factors which has caused this case would not have come into this picture. And his entire life has been discussed, threadbare. People raided his farmhouse and found some hookah joints. They found various other articles in various other places. And so many people kept on speculating about his health, his drug habits, and ultimately, the NCB came with a story to the court that the only consumer in the entire house was Sushant Singh Rajput. So how would the family want to beat this? Because even that it was not only because Riya Chakravarti came in his life that he was consuming drugs. He accepted our submissions that Sushant Singh Rajput was consuming drugs much prior to Riya Chakravarti came in his life. So therefore...
What do you make of the family of Sushant Singh Rajput now saying they're unhappy with Dr. Sudhir Gupta's probe at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences? They want AIIMS to set up a new board and that they want the entire matter to be re-examined by a new board set up by AIIMS. They don't like what Sudhir Gupta has done.
You see, the CBI, AIIMS, Mumbai Police and Cooper Hospital, they're not some grocery shops that you can go from shop to shop. They first made an allegation against the Mumbai Police. They made an allegation against the Cooper Hospital Medical Board to say that it was not a proper finding. Therefore, the CBI came into the picture on the instructions and on the consent of the Patna administration and Nitish Kumar, who wanted it politically transferred to CBI to see that somebody is arrested and harassed. When the case went to CBI, naturally, the papers would go to the highest authority, which the CBI consults all the time, and that's AIIMS. AIIMS is a hospital made up of the best doctors in the country. And a board of 5 doctors was made in Mumbai. There was a medical board of 7 doctors, which was made in the AIIMS. That team of 7 doctors examined all the record, all the findings, and all the videographs and other documents and viscera of Sushant Singh Rajput, and has come to a conclusion. Now, I'd warned all of you that the family of Sushant Singh Rajput, if they don't get a finding to their liking, they'll start making allegations not only against the CBI, not only against the AIIMS, not only against the Mumbai Police, not only against the Cooper Hospital. I don't know what all they're up to. They should wait for the investigations to be complete.
Now, in the midst of this, we're hearing from the Central Bureau of Investigation that they've now ruled out the charge of murder. They're looking at the suicide angle. They're looking at what led to that suicide, whether there was abetment by Riya or by somebody else, whether drugs are involved, whether because he was on such heavy narcotics and because he was depressed, whether that's the reason he committed suicide, or whether there's nepotism involved or there's pressure from the film industry. All of that's being looked at by the CBI, but murder itself has been ruled out.
No, what I'm trying to say is that Sushant Singh Rajput's family lawyer, who claims to have spoken to one of the doctors 2 days after the case was transferred to CBI, he says that he got an opinion from him that it was a 200% murder. How can a doctor give such an opinion? And the doctor has denied having made such opinion known to the family lawyer. Now, the lawyer says that because he is dissatisfied with the findings of the medical board, is it some banana republic that you can keep going from place to place and shop to shop to get an opinion of your liking? You have to accept the opinion of a medical board. It's of 7 doctors. It's not made up of one doctor of Dr. Gupta. There were 7 doctors. Why do you doubt the 6 doctors? And let the CBI first declare what the report is. What is the concern to keep interfering with the investigations? If the family of Sushant Singh Rajput wants to get a fair investigation, every other citizen in this country is entitled to a fair investigation from the same organization. It can't be one-sided. It can't be impartial. And what business, what tampering can happen with the medical board or the investigations when it is still not complete?
And it cannot be that
somebody have to keep interfering.
That the CBI or AIMS is honest and professional only if they say what you want them to say, and if they say after having examined all the evidence the opposite of what you'd like them to say, suddenly they become corrupt, sold out. That is not right. Okay, so it's a big victory for you, Satish Mani Shinde. Thank you very much for joining us on the news track. I want to go across to other guests. The Skype connections are restored. Shoma Chaudhary, starting with you. You know, over the past 3.5 months on some so-called news channels, Rhea Chakravarti has been villainized as a Vish Kanya, as this girl who destroyed the life of a young Bihari boy who was led astray by this girl. And now it turns out that a lot of the charges, a murder ruled out, they're only looking at suicide and what led to that suicide, and the drug charges against Rhea Chakravarti also collapsing in this NCB bail order.
Yeah, Rahul, I think that this whole 3 months has really exposed, you know, the weak ends of television media. I think it's really broken every bounds of journalism, because it's been just, you know, every speculative fact that a reporter uncovers, even before the dots are joined, it's breaking news, you know, hashtags are put out, people are vilified, defamed. Rhea has really become the symptom of everything that is wrong with 24/7 television media and this urge to get TRPs. And in this particular story, it's been mystifying, you know, because the story moved from suicide to abetment to siphoning of funds to a murder to some illicit child to Disha Salyan to drug cartel to, you know, and there was just nothing, no facts backing it. It's just that, of course, even when an investigation is on or even after a court judgment comes out, it is the duty of the media to question. But then you have to do your research, you have to do your facts, you have to do investigation on ground and complete a story before you put it out in public. But every speculative fact that comes out or every handout from an agency or the police, even before it has stood the test of any scrutiny, is immediately put out, you know, before it's ratified or before any coherence is brought into the story. And Rhea is just the last of a series of people who've been defamed and vilified like this. And there is no recourse. I think there's just so many people who've been damaged by this kind of, you know, assassinating kind of journalism. These are just like hired assassins. Where is the basic codes of journalism? It's about the tonality. Let's even assume that the constraints of the medium needs you to put out something fast. At least put it out as contingent facts. Don't put it out with the tonality that, you know, you've like just uncovered some khulasa because you've got hold of some 23 or 28-year-old's, you know, WhatsApp, or you've got some delivery boy delivering a burger and you think there's a bomb inside the burger. I mean, the whole thing has been so ludicrous and so depressing for the entire media fraternity that I think there's serious cause for introspection. And I also think people need recourse because, as I said, this is not the first time. The Arushi Talwar's parents were put through this. Shashi Tharoor has been put through this. You know, Sudha Bhardwaj is lying in jail because she's been labeled an urban Nakshal. You create such a noise around people that no one can put out any facts.
Now, Roshan Bindar, you must respond to this because some of the charges that have been leveled against Rhea Chakravarti would make it seem as if she was guilty of a very heinous crime. The only charge which was actually pushed through in a court of law so far was that of her and the Narcotics Control Bureau and the whole litany of charges they had against her. Most of those charges, in the face of evidence, in front of a real judge, have come falling flat.
Rahul, this in the same court, the bail was also rejected. So let's not just get overexcited over a bail. It is just a bail. The charges are not ruled out completely on her. I think it is just a bail which is granted to her. And right now, the lawyer of Rhea saying, okay, oh, she was getting it for Sushant. So would like to know that did she inform Sushant's doctors about he having drugs when she was handling Sushant for such a long time? Don't you think that was dangerous for Sushant? If this right now, Satish Manashinde himself said this, that she was not having, Sushant was having, she got it for Sushant. And also I would like to correct Satish Manashinde glamorizing this, which I find very weird, all the time glamorizing, no matter whether it is proved guilty or not proved guilty, because this has happened earlier also about Rhea Chakravarti. And right now also Satish Manashinde saying the same thing. Say, oh, you know, she is an army man's daughter and she has been to rough and no. Please find out your facts. That army man, that army doctor has been has been sacked by the military. Please check that and find out about that.
One second. Do not carry out character assassination. 1 second, Roshan Binder. I will not allow you to carry out character assassination beyond what's been done. 1 second. You can shout as much as you want. I'm the moderator. 1 second, Roshan Binder. Your fader has been knocked off because Colonel Chakravarti...
No, Roshan Binder is talking about something totally different.
One second. He retired from service. He has no charge against him. Don't listen to what you see on WhatsApp University or hear on some crazy news channels, because those aren't even real news channels. They're making up facts. Here, in front of a judge, after having examined the evidence that the NCB put, Roshan Binder, you can't be heard. Roshan, you can't be heard. So you need to calm down. Roshan, you need to calm down. You can't be heard right now. It has said, this is the judge saying this, that she bought drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput, and the person who pays for the drugs, pays for such consumption, cannot be punished for 20 years, whereas the person who consumes the drugs gets punished for only 1 year. So a lot of this is written in the Bombay High Court order. I don't know if you've read the Bombay High Court order. I very strongly suggest, Roshan Binder, to you and to anybody else who's been part of this gang, please read the order. The order speaks for itself.
Rahul, may I also just...
No, 1 second. Let us speak. Roshan.
Can I speak? Have you unmuted me?
Yes,
have you unmuted me? Can I speak? Yeah. Okay. Rahul, I have gone through it. Not like maybe these lawyers here, they might have gone through all those 70 pages of it or whatever it is. I haven't gone through in that way because I'm not a lawyer or something to know the nitty-gritties and all those things about it. But what I understand in my language, in a layman's language, which I said it, she has just got a bail. And for me, she has used her credit cards, which have also been there as proof. So you can't deny that. No. And the bigger question is, she was the person who had said on your channel that Sushant was going under depression or whatever said and done. So how
no, but Sumit Chanda, no, one second. There, can I just go back? Can I just go back to this bail order and say that when they say financing through the credit card, the judge has found that financing will have to be interpreted as providing funds for either making that particular activity operational or sustaining it. It is the financial support which directly or indirectly is the cause of illicit traffic. The word financing would necessarily refer to activities involving illegal trade or business. The allegations against the applicant of spending money in procuring drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput will therefore not mean that she financed the illegal drug trade. You know, Sumit Chandar, you can repeat an allegation ad nauseum, but ultimately that allegation needs to be measured against the weight of evidence, and the weight of evidence was very weak according to now not a kangaroo court but a real court and the Bombay High Court's order.
Agreed. Rahul, now before I make things clear, let us understand, and before we get into the details of the order, two things that the viewers must know. One, this is a bail order which is based on prima facie facts. The court has not passed a judgment by going through the evidence at this stage. Number one. Number two, even if you look at the order, the Additional Solicitor General of India has already sought time to file an appeal against this order. So that is still pending. It is not the final judgment here. Now coming to what was there in the order, on which grounds the ASG or the government may challenge this order. Now look at the facts given in the order itself. If you look at it, the first and foremost was Souvik Chakrabarty's statement, who revealed that he used to facilitate the delivery of drugs through the mafia, and these deliveries used to be received by the aides of Sushant Singh Rajput. These are facts on record. Then, secondly, Samuel Miranda, who was the manager of SSR, and Dipesh Sawant, who was the housekeeper of Sushant Singh, both their statements mention that they used to procure the drugs on the directions of Riya and Sushant Singh. And Riya, if you look at it, in her own statement given before the NCB, has revealed about her involvement of procurement of drugs and its financing. So now if you look at it, Riya was actively giving instructions, these are facts, making the payments and facilitating the procurement of drugs.
So that's okay. Okay, Shoma wants to come in, but this is what you're saying is correct, but that's what the judge says, that at the most it makes it seem as if she was buying drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput, possibly consuming them herself, but it doesn't mean, as the NCB portrayed it, that she was part of some grand drug cartel, Shoma Chaudhary.
Yeah, Rahul, I'd just like to say that, Roshan earlier was talking about how she was with Sushant while he was going through depression. I'd just like to say a man has agency. He's a grown man. He's 35 years old. And we have to stop making a woman who's with him responsible for every action and every breath that he took. And number two is that, again, we are discussing a developing story. Yes, she's out on bail, but let's remind ourselves of all the other accusations that have definitely been closed. She was accused of murder. She was accused of siphoning funds. She was accused of, sort of using him as a social ladder. And she very logically and rationally broke all of that down. And now the biggest investigative agency in the country has, also ratified that there was no murder and there was no siphoning of funds. On these same panels, the same dramatis personae discussed in very informed ways about how she had murdered him for money. So I think it's really about time that everyone took a breath and stopped talking about stories that are developing as though they have some kind of oracular truth which no one else knows.
No, which is why we've been saying again and again on India Today that we run a newsroom. We do not run a courtroom. We do not pretend to be judge, jury and execution. We do not have all the answers. We're only reporting on the facts as they emerge. And the facts today ring loud and clear after having examined the evidence at hand. While ruling on the bail plea, the judges found that some of the most serious charges that have been leveled are highly disproportionate and extremely unreasonable. At its highest, she committed an offense involving contraband, but the crucial element of commercial quantity is missing. That is what the judge says. That's what a real judge says. Listen to the real judge, not to a kangaroo court, and let the real judge's voice be the final word. We, of course, will keep tracking what happens in this case from here on, but this point needed to be made and made very emphatically. You're on board the news track. American President Donald Trump is once again at loggerheads with Twitter and Facebook. This after Facebook deleted a post in which Trump had claimed that COVID-19 was less lethal than the flu. Twitter put out a warning that the tweet was spreading misinformation, that it was misleading and had harmful information. This is where we wrap up the news track tonight. Remember, the vice presidential debate is early tomorrow morning, so you can tune in to India Today for that big debate at a time when President Trump's health is uncertain, his recovery not certain either. There's a lot of interest in what the vice presidents have to say. There's also the big Air Force parade tomorrow morning, so I hope you'll be watching our coverage. Rajdeep Sardesai comes up next with the news today. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.